Day 8. Oslo, Norway to Bergen, Norway. While Oslo may have been the capital of Norway, there are many cities in the country that are as beautiful as Oslo. One of them is Bergen. Situated on the far west of Norway, Bergen is surrounded by mountains and fjords that grant the city with nicknames such as the City of Fjord and the City of Seven Mountains. A long train ride of 6.5 hours to Bergen won't tire you at all, as the journey is named as one of the best train rides in Europe. The ticket price may vary based on the season, starting from 300 NOK to 1000 NOK, or around 35 to 120 US dollars. The most accessible mountain along the Seven Mountains in Bergen is the 399 meters Mount Fløyen. Whether you want to hike to the top or ride on the Fløibanen, a funicular, it's up to you. The most rewarding part of the trip to Mount Fløyen is the panoramic view of Bergen. The waters, the houses, and the mountains are all there for you to see and appreciate while you enjoy a cup of coffee and a cinnamon bun, a classic Scandinavian fika. Head down to the city centre after your adventure on the top of Mount Fløyen towards the traditional harbour neighbourhood of Bryggen. As a trading point of Bergen in the 1100s, Bryggen was and still is the life of Bergen, and is awarded with UNESCO World Heritage List. Get lost in the small alleys and discover the independent art galleries or handmade crafts and souvenir shops along the way. All the walking has drained your energy, but worry not. Bergen's fish market is less than a kilometre away from Bryggen. Stop for a couple of Norwegian's best and cheap fish cakes and other traditional delicacies for you to try while you're in Norway. Let's walk a little bit more to the medieval fortress, Bergenhus Fortress, which is one of the oldest fortresses in the country. Adopting the medieval style, the Bergenhus Fortress has become the best preserved fortress in Bergen. There are two main stone buildings in the Bergenhus Fortress, including Haakon's Hall and Rosenkrantz Tower. Walking tour is definitely worth it in Bergen, especially with the sight and stunning views that it offers. When you're walking in the city centre, keep a lookout for Bergen street art that can be found all around the Skostredet neighbourhood. While you're on a scavenger hunt for street art, you may pass a collection of colourful houses in Rosenbergsgaten, Dragefjellsbakken, or Sydneskleiven neighbourhoods. Once you've found all the street art of Bergen, it's time to call it a day and await for the next day's journey. Day 9. Day trip to Flam, Norway. The spectacular Norwegian fjords are spread throughout the coast of the Viking land. Just 3 hours away from Bergen, you'll find yourself immersed in the unspoiled wonder of Flam. Board on a train from Bergen bus station to Flam station for around 300 NOK to 375 NOK, or 35 to 45 US dollars. You can hop onto the Flam Railway for the mesmerizing Flam Scenic Railway adventure. With only 500 NOK or around 56 US dollars, the hidden beauty of Norway will be unraveled right in front of you. From the splendid mountainside to the valleys and the waterfalls, Flam is truly mesmerizing. A short stop at the Kjosfossen waterfall is one of the main highlights of the trip, accompanied by the music and people dancing on the mountain. The picturesque Flam Railway bears so much history and hard work from all the talented hands that helped construct this stunning train ride. Learn more about the history of the Flam Railway in the Flam Railway Museum, located at the Flam Railway Station with free admission. The main attraction of Flam is yet to be explored. Flam is the gateway to the UNESCO World Heritage Site, Naeroyfjord. Naeroyfjord can be explored by joining a cruise to Naeroyfjord and Gudvangen for 505 NOK, or approximately $60. Naeroyfjord is the world's narrowest fjord. surrounded by sky-high mountains that hold a profound charm. While seasons change, fjord will always be a miracle on the land of the Vikings. Winter, spring, summer and autumn have its own charms. From the snow-capped mountains to the sea of fallen leaves, an experience that you will treasure dearly forever. Choose to arrive at Gudvangen and wander through the authentic Viking street at the Viking Valley Njardarheimer. Films and documentaries may have shown you how the Vikings used to live centuries ago, but the village unfolds so much more about them. The art, lifestyle and handicrafts, topped with a thorough history of the Vikings, will enhance your trip in Norway. Catch a shuttle bus back to Flam and relax for an hour or two before departing back to Bergen. Sip a pint of beer at the Aegir Brew pub and grab some dinner before hopping on the next train back to Bergen and continue your journey. Well, travelers, how do you enjoy the itinerary that we personally handcrafted with love for you? Scandinavia is truly a gem in Europe. If you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button below and don't forget to like and comment on this video. Day 10. Bergen, Norway to Stockholm, Sweden. Fly from Bergen to Sweden's capital and most populous urban area, Stockholm. The flight will take you to Stockholm in 4.5 hours, starting from $93 to $262. Connecting 14 islands with 57 bridges across the city and culture with modern society, Stockholm deserves its name as the Beauty of the Water. Discover the old cobblestone streets of Stockholm's Old Town or the Gamla stan and breathe in the fresh air of Stockholm. Wander through the charming Viking buildings, streetlights, specialty shops and the marvelous German-influenced architecture. Carry on with your walking tour and find yourself in front of the Royal Palace of Stockholm, the 18th century Italian Baroque palace where the King of Sweden resides. The splendor of the palace is shown to the public through its year-round palace tour from the regally decorated apartments, reception halls and museums. Nourish your body with the wide assortment of authentic Swedish cuisine at the sophisticated Östermalms Saluhall food hall. Whether you're a fan of seafood or pasta or even healthy sandwiches and vegetable wraps, Stockholm's best food market will make you long for more. Once your energy is fully recharged, roam around the Gatan street, Stockholm's finest hub for quirky, retail, even vintage shops. Find yourself immersed in the creative and dynamic vibe of Stockholm's Brooklyn's decor shops and rows of hip cafes along the street. Stop for a short fika and give yourself a break before heading to the museums. Head towards the Vasa Museum, the most visited attraction in Stockholm. The museum's name derives from the museum's crown jewel, the 17th century ship Vasa. The sunken ship was discovered in 1961 and it's now preserved in the Vasa Museum. Just a few minutes from the Vasa Museum, visit the world's oldest open-air attraction, Skansen. The final bow of this day's trip should be spent by admiring the place where history meets the present. Zoo, aquarium, museums and other attractions should be the showstopper of today's trip in Stockholm. Day 11. Stockholm, Sweden and day trip to Sigtuna, Sweden. Begin your day in Sweden's Beauty on the Water city with coffee and cinnamon roll. As usual, fika should be a part of your routine after a week in Scandinavia. If you're an avid fan of pop culture, the next museum will leave a mark on your Stockholm trip. The ABBA Museum offers an interactive museum experience to commemorate the Swedish pop legend in the 70s, ABBA. Try on costumes virtually and imagine yourself as ABBA's fifth member by singing, playing and mixing their original music. Walk out the museum feeling like a true dancing queen indeed. The day has just begun and it calls for a mini getaway to the lakeside town Sigtuna. From Stockholm Central Station, board a train to the Master Station for only 30 to 180 Swedish krona or $3 to $22. After 20 minutes on the train, transfer to a bus from Master Station to Sigtuna bus station for only 32 Swedish krona or $4. Sigtuna is where Sweden truly begins. Sigtuna proves its legacy at the Sigtuna Museum, where they showcase their history, starting from the founder to the discovery of ancient remnants. The history of the very first christened king of Sweden, Erik Segersäll, Sigtuna is Sweden's first and oldest town. Being a small city won't hinder Sigtuna from giving us the jaw-dropping tour experience. Stora Gatan witnessed the history of Sigtuna from its lovely pastel-colored wooden houses and souvenir shops. Sweden's oldest pedestrian street houses a number of restaurants and cafes that you can try for authentic Sigtuna meals. Moments before bidding farewell to the enchanting Sigtuna, enjoy a short walk by the shore at the enticing Lake Mälaren from the shore of Sigtuna. Absorb the tranquility of Lake Mälaren with a cup of coffee in hand from a sun deck. When the sun sets, it's time for you to go back to Stockholm. Day 12. Stockholm, Sweden to Helsinki, Finland. Starting from $45, the flight will take you from Stockholm to Helsinki for only 55 minutes. Wave goodbye to Stockholm as you land to the world's happiest country. The flamboyant seaside city combines both cosmopolitan, nature, and culture, all wrapped in neoclassical and functionalism facades. Start your journey with a cup of coffee and a finished breakfast at Market Square. The early morning in Helsinki is never dull. The sight of local shops, historical landmarks, and the city's skyline will enhance your breakfast. As the caffeine kicks in, set out for a sightseeing tour of the 18th century island fortress, Suomenlinna, with only a short ferry ride from the Market Square. The divine Suomenlinna holds Finnish greatest treasures, and it has been named as one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The historical remnants, such as the fortress, Suomenlinna Church, cannons, are scattered throughout the 8 islands that make up the Suomenlinna Sea Fortress. Walk along the street and you'll find a statuesque white building dressed in the neoclassical style, decorated with classic Greek-style pillars and topped with green domes. Helsinki Cathedral. Climb up the stairs and see the magnificent view of the city and pay a visit inside the church. Admire the elegant yet simple interior of the church. After all the sightseeing, you need some sustenance to keep you going. Make your way to the Old Market Hall and savor the flavor of Finnish food. With a lot of options ranging from seafood, meat, vegetarian, and ethnic delicacies, your appetite will be satisfied. With the surge of energy, continue your journey to Tempeliaukio Church in Tulun. Carved into a solid rock, Tempeliaukio is also called the Rock Church. Constructed in 1968, the Rock Church has blessed Helsinki with its modern and quirky architecture. Lies in the same neighborhood is the Sibelius Monument. The floating organ pipes monument dedicated to Jean Sibelius, Finland's most famous composer. Walk around the floating pipes and the park surrounding the monument. Round out your Helsinki trip and enjoy the vibe on Mannerheimintain Street, where Helsinki shines its nightlight. Enjoy a few drinks and a late night snack at the longest street in Helsinki before calling it a day. Day 13. Day trip to Repovesi National Park and Porvoo. While we agree that the city life of Helsinki is beyond amazing, Finland's greatest jewel is their nature. Let's get in touch with Mother Nature while embracing the brisk forest air by visiting the Repovesi National Park. From Helsinki, get on a train to Vuohijärvi for 2 hours, and it will cost you around $25 to $40. After that, take a 14 minutes cab ride from Vuohijärvi to Repovesi National Park for only $25 to $30. The captivating beauty of Repovesi National Park lies in its taiga, cold boreal forest covered with pine trees and pristine lake. There are many activities to do in Repovesi National Park, including hiking, camping, or paddling trips. With a guide, you'll be able to explore the deepest wood of Repovesi and encounter Finland's endemic flora and fauna. Start by crossing the Lapinsalmi Bridge towards the forest and follow the guide for Ketunlenkki Trail, the classic Repovesi trail for beginners. Follow the shores of Lake Kapiavesi, enjoy the sight of pristine and unspoiled blue waters of the lake. The best part about hiking in Finland is that you're allowed to forage for mushrooms and berries. However, stray away from the plants and rocks as they are not permitted to be taken. Spend a few hours in the deep nature before heading to our next destination, Porvoo. Stop by at the delightful medieval town of Finland to admire the second oldest city in the country. Once you set your foot in the cobblestone streets of Porvoo, head to the Old Town for a glimpse of the dollhouses-like buildings with a splash of colour. Grab lunch at one of the many cafes and restaurants lined up in the neighbourhood. Wandering around the Old Town of Porvoo is a not-to-be-missed experience. Enjoy a better panorama of Porvoo from the bridge over Porvoonjoki River. 1 minute walk from the Old Town will lead you to another great history of Porvoo, the Cathedral of Porvoo. Located on the top of a small hill in Porvoo, the Cathedral of Porvoo was built in the 15th century and has survived 5 fires throughout the centuries. Admire the picture-perfect Porvoo before heading out to Helsinki by a bus. The trip will be around 1 hour for only 10 to 18 euros or $12 to $22. Day 14. Depart from Helsinki, Finland. After 2 weeks of exploring Scandinavia, it's time to head back home. If you have time for an authentic Finnish breakfast, Cafe Regatta should be your last visit in Helsinki. Located by the sea in Turku, Cafe Regatta summons Finnish countryside cottage to the city. Munch on Finland's traditional breakfast menu like cinnamon buns, Karelian pie or egg butter before leaving for the airport. So travellers, when are you going to fly to the northern hemisphere of Europe and indulge in the wonders of Scandinavia? We hope that this video gives you a glimpse of how your 14 days will be like in Denmark, Sweden, Norway and Finland. If you enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button before you go. Don't forget to leave a like and leave a comment. Let us know where you want to explore next. See you in our next video.